Hey guys, my next guest is David Hay. David is CEO of Hay Hospitality, a company based in Spain which is involved in hospitality, restaurants, and short-term rental industry. In this interview, David's experience comes to the fore and it is a must listen for anyone within the short-term rental industry. Please take a listen. So can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, as you already touched on, we are essentially two companies. So Hayes Hospitality is our parent company. It provides management consulting for hotels and restaurants and vacation rental management companies. We've done that all over the world. We also do seminars for like continuing education for professionals. And then in the beginning of this year, we spun off what was previously wrapped up into Hayes Hospitality, our property management division, and that's what became Hayes Holidays. So with Hayes Holidays, what we do is we manage a collection of private vacation rental. We're along the whole Costa del Sol of Spain, so in between Malaga City and Marbella. We're in every city along the coast. These homes are primarily owned by second home owners that live outside the country. They want to come and they want to use their properties throughout the year. And when they're not here, we operate them as vacation rentals, and we provide like a concierge service for the owner so that they get to enjoy some of those same services when they come as well.
I see. Yeah. Is that something that you've just started, you've added to your business, or is it something you've been doing for the last few years?
Yeah, so we've been doing the short-term rentals here in Spain since 2013. Previously, we were based in Seville, and we did a lot of activity there. That's where we started. And what was kind of funny with that is that I met my wife, who is now my business partner, in Seville. And I was an independent hotel consultant at the time. And just a few months after we met, she quit her job and we went into business together. She also came from the hotel industry. So she quit her job and we went into business together. So we've been doing the short-term rental in Spain for about 5 years now. And excuse me, and then down here on the coast for 2 years.
That's very interesting. So what is the, how do you list your properties? Are you just listed on Airbnb, or do you have, I know you have your own website that can accept bookings and things like that. How do you maximize your occupancy?
So no, we're definitely not just on Airbnb. Of course, we have a presence on Airbnb. I think we've got somewhere between 700 and 800 reviews on there. And a lot of those come from Sevilla, where we had really high turnover. Not quite the same that we have down here on the coast. But we're on Airbnb, we're on Booking.com, we're on Expedia, we're on HomeAway. We're on actually around 250 different channels right now, in addition to what we do on our own website and what we do on social media.
I see.
So,
I see.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your targeted or expected occupancy rate? 70%, 80%? Is that fair for you?
Well, you know, what you have to understand is, as I said, we operate along the whole coast. And so some of our property are going to see between 90 to 95% occupancy annualized, because that's just what they can command. And because of their area. And then we have others that are a little bit more remote. They're really popular in the summertime for big families that want to come out. But during the down season, like right now, we're starting to go into the winter, we're not going to see a lot of traffic. So because our portfolio is mainly comprised of individual property owners, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to average occupancy across the portfolio, because we intentionally have a variety of accommodation. So yeah, as I said, we have some that may see 60% annualized occupancy and some that could see up to 95. Yeah.
That sounds very interesting. So in terms of your engagement with homeowners, for example, how do you expand the business? How do you approach homeowners? And there's two schools of thought as well. one is the master lease, and one is the co-hosting. How are you engaging homeowners and adding to your portfolio?
So we have previously operated under a master lease format when we were in Sevilla. That's how we did most of our real estate there. But our model now is very, very different. And this is largely because 2 years ago, the Andalusia put in the regulations surrounding the industry, and it really established the framework for what was allowed, what wasn't allowed, and how things needed to be operated. And once they did that, the master lease format became obsolete. You could only manage 2 properties within a 1 kilometer radius before having to get a different kind of licensing that was a lot more complicated and a lot more cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
So the regulation they put into place, we were part of the team that wrote it. It is the easiest to operate with in Spain, but it still has rules that you have to follow. So as a result, we function internally a lot closer to a traditional property management company. Owners are the ultimate responsible party for their property, but they contract us, and we provide the essentially middleman service that covers everything from A to Z. Owners don't have to do anything. They just hand us the keys in a bank account, and they get their monthly distribution and reporting at the end of the month. Yeah.
Wow. About 2010, my company, we used to sell properties in Portugal, in the Algarve. And, you know, we also have a lot of people in England and in the UK who buy properties in Spain, don't live there. I'm sure you've got a lot of clients like that, who only come there during winter. How do you approach these people? And if, you know, how do you approach them?
You know what, we had a fantastic advantage when Airbnb still had the co-host marketplace, which they just shut down recently. This was a source of anywhere from 1 to 3 incoming inquiries every week. Because in our market, especially on Airbnb, and like I said, we have an advantage because we had such a significant number of trips hosted in Sevilla that has a much shorter average length of stay. So in our market down here on Airbnb, we're essentially the kings of the market if you look at Airbnb. There's not really anybody that has a comparable looking profile. So when hosts would go on there saying, we're looking for management services, and we would get the inquiry, we could just follow up with them real quick, and we pretty much look by default the top choice, at least coming from there. So now that Airbnb has taken that feature out as of a few months ago, what we're doing is we're leaning more onto our relationships with real estate agents. We have a network of real estate agents. This is a very, very saturated market when it comes to real estate agents. Okay, so we've got real estate agents all over the coast that we have affiliate agreements with them that, excuse me, because they're selling second home. That's the majority of what the agents that we work with, they're selling second homes to foreign owners. And so we pay them commission for selling management services.
All right, I see. So if somebody from the UK was looking to buy a property as an investment vehicle in the area you operate, what advice would you give them?
Well, my advice would be to consider very closely whether you're looking for strictly an investment property or you're looking to be able to utilize the property, because you're going to underwrite these differently. Primarily in the Costa del Sol, at least, it's a bit of a challenge in order to find the right kind of property that you're thinking, I want to buy this strictly to operate as a short-term rental. Long-term rental rates are high per hand. It really cuts down the long-term supply. So if it's not a property that an investor is necessarily planning on using, my experience has been you probably get very comparable returns doing long-term rental, to be fair. And it's not necessarily a popular opinion when we're talking about short-term rentals, but I do try to be very upfront with it.
Of course, yeah.
that they can see similar returns from the long-term rental. Now, again, in Sevilla, that wasn't necessarily the case. In Sevilla, it was very easy for 3 times your income as a short-term rental. You would see long-term. So that being the case, it's important to consider how you're the property. It's important to consider whether you're going to go with a full-service management company like mine, or you're going to try to manage it independently with your own team. But of course, when you get to challenges like the regulatory framework, for example, where we are here, a lot of rules that have to be followed, with guests having to be reported to the police within 24 hours. Everybody has to be in person. Things like the remote check-in or the self-check-in option, they're just not legal.
Really?
So, yeah, they're just not legal. So you need to have somebody in the area. You need to have an on-site team. Okay, every guest is met in person at a property. So this just kind of example. As an owner looking to buy property, you're going to want to make sure that you get a consideration of what your costs are going to be, not just, of course, all your acquisition management as well.
That really sounds interesting, because a lot of short-term rental people are looking to scale up, and in scaling up, one of the ways is automation. And do you automate your properties, or, as you say, if it is illegal, then that means you're going to have a lot of staff, isn't it?
So we have a bit of a hybrid. Okay, we use a lot of systems. We do use a lot of automation. For example, we use a lot of industry tools. We have a full-feature property management system. We have a full channel management system. We have a yield revenue management system. All of these things that help us manage our back-end operation. A lot of our guest communication has personalized but automated messages. Every property that we have, we develop a proprietary property guide specifically for that one, that is typically anywhere from like 30 to 40 pages. Got tons and tons of information about the property, how everything works in it, how to get there, all your public transportation options. The thing is, we developed this type of guide about 4 years ago, and then it became required to provide this information in the new law. So the law that was published just 2 years ago, you have to provide all the same information that we now include directly into our guide. So this is included in the automated messages that the guests get. And of course, those automated messages, they work within our property management system. So they're not just like, dear valued guest. It's able to auto-populate the guest name, the guest details, pertinent information that we have about them, pertinent information that they need to know about their property, and specifically the property guide for the one that they have reserved. And then also on our website, because this is one of the messages that they get, is great, now you've booked your stay, go to our website and watch our little video that explains how your check-in works. And it tells you exactly what's going to happen next now that you've reserved. And you can go ahead and click your desired check-in time. You schedule your check-in time and somebody will be there to meet you. Very simple. So that comes directly to us. We now don't actually ask for check-in times anymore. So that comes directly to us, and we can just schedule someone to be there.
I see. So in terms of channel manager, you have a proprietary system that manages your properties. Is that
No, it's not proprietary. All of our systems, all of our like computer systems, they're all third-party vendors. So the only thing is I wouldn't want to name the channel manager, because I wouldn't necessarily recommend them, and I'd rather just not speak poorly about them.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Because I'm working with a channel manager, because I'm setting up B&B Continental, which is going to help people, entrepreneurs who want to scale up their businesses, have a full platform that they can use. And I'm working with a channel manager actually in Spain at the moment. I can't name their name, for obvious reasons, but they seem to be taking the market by storm as well. But I think channel manager is the way to go, isn't it, in terms of scaling up your business?
Absolutely. I mean, it's important to take into consideration where your market is and where you're going to see the best return. If you're trying to scale up your business and you're handling more than a couple properties, you're handling more than a couple booking pages, yeah, you absolutely need a professional channel management system. And I mean, I'm sure, at this point that you know what that is, but, looking for the API connection. You're not looking for iCal connection because you can do the iCal through a Google Calendar. That's really simple.
Yeah.
So you need the right channel management system that not only is just going to put you out to a whole bunch of channel, but you want it to put you out into the channel that's going to be targeting your demographic. If you've got the kind of property that's out in the countryside and is primarily looking for visitor families that are looking for getaways, it's not necessarily the same sort of niche page that is going to target young, hip, urban travelers. Now, of course, you have the Goliath pages, Booking and Airbnb and Expedia, those guys, that they cover everything. And yeah, great. But you don't need a channel manager necessarily to manage just a couple property in just a couple pages. So when you want to start getting into those niche pages, you just make sure that the channel manager that you're looking at is gonna actually target those niche pages and be able to put you there and be able to manage your content there effectively.
Wow, interesting. Talking about niches, who is Hays Holidays avatar? Who is your target market?
For Hays Holiday, we specifically develop a pretty wide variety in our portfolio. So we have a couple of very modern one-bedroom studio apartment that tend to attract young couple. They tend to attract maybe a child, maybe not, especially some of the studios. And then we have large villas that can host up to 10 people. And so obviously you're looking at multi-generational families typically that are coming to stay there, the grandparents, parents, and small children that are coming to stay with that. So we, now, with that being said, we're in a coastal destination, okay? Our two main market are people that are coming either to go to the beach or people that are coming to go golfing, because this is also a very popular destination for that. We've got 78 golf courses here along the coast. We have some property that's located right in the center of golf courses. So we do get a lot of people from England coming into the coming month that are trying to escape the wet weather and come out here and play golf. Yes.
I see. That sounds very interesting because what about reviews? How do you ensure that, a lot of the reviews you receive actually enhance your business rather than, cause you problems? Because reviews seem to be very, very the thing that most hospitality industry is looking to achieve.
Well, as I mentioned, we've got a lot of automated messages, and we really believe in very steady communication with the guests. And so those messages, those phone calls, those text messages, this email, they really help us stay in touch with what's going on in the property, in touch with what's going on with the guest needs. So it helps us really stay up on top of problems. With that being said, hey, we're not perfect. Things go wrong. All right. We ask for reviews after every stay, or we ask for feedback at least if we need to resolve an issue that didn't get resolved during the stay. We ask for reviews after every stay, and as a result, we tend to rack up reviews pretty quickly. Guests like the interaction that we have. We put a lot of emphasis on our customer service and a lot of emphasis on the type of hospitality that we provide. And we tend to get pretty good responses to that. But the thing is when you're actually dealing with review, this is something that, I'm sure you've seen a lot of conversation about. It's huge on Facebook groups. People are always talking about their reviews, how to respond to reviews, right?
Yes.
This responding to review is an opportunity to make a profound impact. And one of the most important things to remember is when responding to reviews, you're not talking really to the guest. You're talking to the next person.
Right.
Because you've already had your opportunity to talk to the guest. You've already had your opportunity to touch them and to fix whatever problem you needed to fix. So when you're responding to their review, you are talking to the next person that's going to read the review. And the important things to do with that is you have to keep it professional. You have to keep it factual. It doesn't make sense to get very emotional. It doesn't make sense to take it personal, because that's one of the things. People do tend to get very emotionally attached to their properties, especially people that are operating independently.
Yeah.
Or even people that are developing their own business. This doesn't have to be your property, but maybe you're just feeling really, really emotional about your business, and you get really upset when somebody doesn't like the service that you provide. I understand, but I've been in the hospitality industry for 17 years, so I've been dealing with feedback on these kind of reviews for a while. Yes. And the fact is, it's almost never personal. It's just about their experience. It's just about something that didn't go wrong, because we're all human. And sometimes we're all human mean that somebody else, I guess, is being completely ridiculous and unreasonable. Sometimes that's the way that it is. So you have to maintain your professionalism. You have to maintain your facts. You keep it short. You keep it to the point. If you took steps to remedy the situation, whatever the guest might be complaining about, talk about it. Be proactive about it. Make sure guests understand you're being proactive about it. It doesn't pay to get into an argument with a guest. It doesn't pay to even blame the guest. Somebody that's reading that review is always going to appreciate your perspective a little bit better if you approach it with humility. Hey, you know what? I can see you weren't happy. I'm really sorry to see that you weren't happy. That's not the kind of experience that we want. Because even if the reality is, maybe they were completely unreasonable. Maybe what they wanted wasn't anything that was even possible. You're still not happy that they weren't happy, right? So yes. you can still honestly say, I'm really disappointed that we didn't meet your expectations, that we couldn't do this. We certainly try our best. Here's maybe what we've done to rectify the situation. Here's what we're going to offer to future guests in order to do this better. Really hope that we can see you again and provide a different experience. People are always going to take it better. If you get defensive, if you get accusatory, somebody else is going to read that and they're going to think, "Ooh, what are they going to say about me?"
Mm-hmm. This is a great answer you've given, actually, because as you said, there's a lot of rave about reviews and a lot of people getting emotional about it, and especially people who are superhosts, because they feel that, look, I'm a superhost and therefore it's guaranteed I get a 5-star review. And so the moment they get a 3-star review, hell breaks loose. How do you see being superhost and not being superhost, and how that affects your business?
I'm the first to tell you, we have never once been superhosts, and I'm okay with that.
Really?
I'm okay with that. Yeah, 100% okay with that, because I can explain. First of all, our operations, just on Airbnb, we've always been in the top 1% of their performers. Okay. So with that being said, it's impossible to consistently scale, or at least personal opinion, it's impossible to consistently scale a business, a hospitality operation, and satisfy what is quite often very unrealistic expectation on Airbnb specifically. I will tell you that we do consistently get better reviews now from other pages, and we don't see anywhere near as much of our traffic anymore from Airbnb as we used to. We see at most maybe 20 to 30% of our traffic from Airbnb. So you will find Airbnb has created this community mindset, this culture mindset, this huge shift in the marketplace mindset. And the reality is they didn't create this huge shift in the market. They did something amazing. They did something massive, no question. But the hospitality industry has been around for a really long time. People have, in a lot of markets like mine, people have been offering private apartment rentals for decades. They've just been doing them through other platforms or local classifieds. So now the way that Airbnb's branded itself, they're branding themselves as offering all these super unique experiences, everything goes the extra mile. But what a lot of guests don't understand is when you're staying at a property like short-term rental, there's a private property that most often doesn't have like a reception there are differences. We do get a lot of first-time travel, first-time Airbnb, or first-time short-term rental type traveler, people that have previously stayed at hotels. And this is largely because of our branding. One of the first things that we have to get them to understand is when you go to stay at a hotel, you've got a 24-hour reception. You can check in whenever, there's always somebody there. But of course, it doesn't work that way. You're getting more privacy. You have a private apartment, and you're getting a better rate for what you're getting for the space. But there's some trade-offs, so we have to work about it a little bit differently. Those little differences, people oftentimes expect every single same detail, every single same advantage they might get in a hotel. And as I said, I come from the hotel industry, so I'm familiar with those. And they expect them in short-term rental. And at least in our marketplace, I know we deal with some restrictions that aren't going to be the case. Globally, they're not going to be the case in a lot of other big markets. There's a lot of self-check-in modules. There's a lot of ways of automating your system. But, of course, we have to operate within our local legal framework. So it is, in my experience, impossible to satisfy everyone without throwing every sustainable business practice right out the window.
Yeah. I think this is the best answer I have received on this question so far, and I've interviewed I've had a discussion with a lot of people, and I think it is because you've been in the industry for quite a long time before all this hoo-ha, brouhaha came about in short-term rental. So your experience has really come to the fore, because a lot of people are still reeling about this whole superhosts and reviews. Look, the matter is that short-term rental of homes, we're not providing a hotel. If you want a hotel, you go check in a hotel. As you said, the hotel, you have all the facilities, the concierge and everything else. If you come to somebody's private home, it is an experience of the person's culture and everything else, which I hope is what Hays Holiday is providing. What is the experience of Holiday Home?
Well, their booking process is pretty much the same as just about any other property, because I will say we get the vast majority of our booking through any number of OTAs. Okay, those are the booking pages. Now, with that being said, we make concerted effort to have very clear advertising, very clear house rules, things like that. In Airbnb, for example, we always do professional photography. So, and we make sure that photography is not edited in a way that it's inaccurately representing the property. So one of my biggest points of pride is when a guest checks into a property and they say, wow, this looks exactly like it looked like in the pictures, or it looks better than it looked like in the pictures. Sometimes I think people get a little overzealous with their pictures and they start misrepresenting a picture, and that's when you get guests that get unhappy. So when we also have staging instruction for our housekeeping staff that make sure that the property looks exactly the way that it looked like in the pictures. The linens are the same, the decorations are the same, the pillows are arranged in the same way. So it really does create that just perfect first impression. Somebody says, wow, this is what I expected. So it's already a positive. It's not, you're not setting any kind of negatives. It's what I expected or better than I expected. As I said, when they make their booking, they get a link to go to our website. We've got this like 1.5 minute video, really quick. It just says, if you booked through, if you've already paid through your booking channel, like Airbnb or some other one, great. If not, Booking.com or Expedia, we're going to charge your credit card now. All of our bookings are prepaid. Then there's understand that this is not a hotel. There's not a front desk check-in. So we offer you a personalized check-in. Just choose your check-in time. You choose whatever time you want. You confirm it. You're going to get a confirmation, and we're going to guarantee that somebody is there at that time to meet you. And that way, you're the one that picks it. You set your own travel plan. You do this, and we make sure that somebody's there at the property. At the property, our check-in time, our check-in process is anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes because it's really important that we're spending time with the guests doing a complete walkthrough of the property. We make sure that they have our property guide that explains all the information. It's really too big for them to read in one go. That's not the idea. The idea is that they just have that as a resource. So they have that as a resource for frequently asked questions. They have a 24-hour line that they can call for support, That line also handles our management inquiries or maintenance inquiry. So we got a 24-hour line that they can call for that. We have a 24-hour concierge service. So whether they're looking to say, yep, we want to get dinner reservations, but we don't speak Spanish, okay, no problem, we can help you with that. Or whether they say, we want to have somebody come to the house and cook dinner for us, okay, no problem, we can handle that for you. So we really try to provide a completely seamless process for the guest when they come and stay with us. Yeah. Checkouts are very simple. I think the checkout is something that I keep hearing as I talk with other professionals, and a lot of time when we talk with guests is how people are handling checkouts, and I'll explain how we handle checkouts. My experience, a lot of people, a lot of hosts are meeting their guest for their checkout, and excuse me, and then maybe they're doing a property inspection right then, or maybe they're having some sort of conversation about the stay, or any number of things. Okay, my experience has been, don't do this for any number of reasons. First of all, if you have to meet the guest for the checkout, you're controlling your schedule, not just once for the check-in, conceivably, but twice for the checkout. You're also getting very confrontational, even if it's not actively, you're passively being very confrontational in the property inspection. Nobody wants to feel like they're being judged. You're going to do it anyway, but if you do it in front of the guest, people are going to feel judged. They're going to feel really uncomfortable. It's going to leave a nasty impression in their mind. And then they also have to wait around for you. Maybe their plans change. Maybe they've got a plane, you're running late. Or maybe they just don't care to meet you again, and they don't want to do that. So we do not meet guests for checkout. They know that we're available. During their whole stay, they oftentimes talk to us plenty. So they know that we're available. We don't meet guests for checkout. We tell them very clearly. All of our properties, the doors lock behind them. Whenever you shut the door lock, okay? You just, shuttle the door, shut all the light, leave the keys on the table, and you lock the door behind you. Yeah. The housekeeping will come within a couple hours after checkout anyway, and they're gonna make sure that all the property is clean, secured, everything's good, any kind of damages or anything, they're inspected at that time. And it's completely non-confrontational with the guest. So the guest leaves the property completely happy and relaxed and good.
Yes. That is absolutely an excellent response to this. Okay, I'm going to take you up on your consultancy and management services, because frankly speaking, I've enjoyed this interview. I've enjoyed the professional responses. It comes out, your experience really comes out in this interview. There are a lot of people who approach me from Spain and other areas who are looking to get into this whole industry, and they're looking to scale up and everything else. But in terms of your management consultancy, what sort of training do you offer to people in Spain particularly?
I have to be honest, our actual consultancy doesn't typically make sense for an individual because it makes sense more for companies that have a number of units that are looking to expand more or to scale up. Or as I said, primarily our consultancy is focused on hotel. We do boutique hotel and we do restaurant. We have held seminars because we find that for somebody that's looking to get started, okay, somebody's looking to get started in the industry, or they're looking to get started with things, most of the content we really can cover in a good comprehensive seminar. That's really what makes sense. And it gives us the ability to impact a lot of people at one time. It's something that we've thought about taking online, but honestly, even though we're doing this interview here, I don't like the way I look on camera. So
you look very good on camera. You look very good on camera, David.
That's just what it boils down to, really. I'm very much a people person. I love meeting people and connecting in person. I'll be honest, we haven't done a lot of those seminars. We got a good feedback. We did them in Sevilla. That's where we got a ton of interest, and we sold out the house. We did a really good seminar there. That's really what makes sense for the person who's trying to get into the industry. And that's why we do those kind of seminars too. And saying, hey, I want to learn a few things. I have some of the same questions that you're asking me now. You're saying, hey, how do you handle calendar management? How do you handle multiple different pages? How do you do that? How do you do that? And you know, we can break that stuff down to very simple elements and very simple action plans that don't take that much to implement.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop a business idea to you, David. We're gonna have Hayes hospitality training. How about that?
Could do it. We've done it before. Could do it.
Absolutely, because you have a lot of experience. You've got a very rich. You've thrown a lot of gold nuggets to us, and I think if you add that bit to your business, you will get a good response from people.
Well, as I said, it's something that we thought about. We thought about featuring a little bit more because personally, I love teaching, and it's something that I've considered perhaps in a second career, going into academia and teaching. I really love to do that. So obviously, this is my passion. This is my name on it, and this is what I'd love to do. And we're building. We're building a very big, successful business here that's going to have a great future ahead of it, doing a lot of projects. So, it's a lot of fun to bring other people along for the ride.
Excellent. I'll PM you about ideas I have in the Spanish market. Sure. Excellent. Yeah. If a property investor is looking to buy in Spain, just for investment and perhaps use it occasionally, what advice would you give them?
My advice would be to think about something that you're really, really, really going to enjoy. That should be your starting point, not necessarily just numbers. And the reason why I mean that is if you're thinking, I am really going to enjoy having a pool, and I'm really going to enjoy having an ocean view, but man, all the properties that I'm seeing are 30, 40, 50, 60,000 more than comparable properties that don't have those kind of amenities. You know what? If you like it, somebody else is going to like it too. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now that applies to those kind of amenities. Of course, the very general appeal, having really funky architecture, having really strangely painted walls or things like that, and maybe you like them. There's some pretty general principles when it comes to real estate. A certain degree of neutrality really works. And then in the actual hard structure, in the actual amenities, things like that, you want to have a decent amount of neutrality. One of the other things is, if you're looking for an investment here, I can tell you, you're going to see your best return as long as you're walking distance to shops, bars, and the beach if possible. Okay. Mm-hmm. We get a lot of people that buy homes or what they're thinking are retirement homes that are in very residential areas where you have to take the car for everything. I've previously lived in one of those areas. I hated it. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those people that right now where I live in the absolute center of tourism. Okay, I can walk outside of my house and I'm in any number of bars in 2 minutes. I'm in any number of restaurants. I'm in any number of supermarkets. The beach is 5 minutes away. And I live here because I enjoy those things, okay? You will, as an investor, you're going to enjoy having that kind of proximity to a lot of those things when you're coming on a short stay. You're going to enjoy it. I can pretty much promise that. And even if you don't enjoy it, the vast majority of other people will. Yeah. You will find far more people that want that than want the sort of peaceful, really set away, getaway type property. And I'm just speaking from experience. We have properties that see 95% occupancy because of where they're located and because of their proximity to the things that I'm talking about. And then we have other much bigger, much like nicer, very luxury, amazing, breathtaking property that every time a guest goes there, they walk in and they are saying, wow, this is amazing. And they leave glowing reviews, but it doesn't matter. We still don't see consistent occupancy, and occupancy matters. You can sell one reservation at 500 euros a night for 3 nights in your stay, and maybe you make in your month and you make 1,500 euros. Or you sell 20 nights at 200 a night, and you're going to make a lot more money. So it's just those kind of things to keep in mind. What is going to keep your steady operation? What's going to keep your steady occupancy? And it's the things that I talked about. Having that proximity to the transportation, something I didn't mention, but we have a great train line here along the coast. The only thing is, though, it goes from Malaga to Fuengirola, which is where I live. And it stops in a lot of places in the middle, but it doesn't go all the way out to Marbella, for example. So the area between Fuengirola and Marbella, which includes towns like Mijas, La Cara de Mijas, or Calonda, or Viria, all of these areas are very residential, and they are beautiful. They are really nice getaway places, and they are super, super seasonal.
Right.
So if you're looking for the kind of property that you're going to spend 6 months over the winter here, and then you're going to rent it out over the summer, hey, maybe it's a really good deal. But that's why I was talking about earlier. We touched on it. It's really important to evaluate how much you're going to use the property, what your actual utility you're looking for. If it's an investment, if it's I want a steady return on my asset, well, then you have to look at what the greatest market demographic is going to demand.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. David, if you're an animal, what animal would you say you are?
An animal?
Yes.
Oh boy. So this was your little fun question just for a laugh.
I bet you haven't thought about it.
Well, hey, yeah, animal. I think the easiest one comes to mind, even though it's not really very true. But I guess a bear.
A bear.
I'm a really big guy, and my family always tells me I get big bear hugs. So I guess so. Plus, I mean, the only thing that makes me not want to do that is I don't like sleeping very much, and I don't sleep very much.
Oh, wow. Your face doesn't look it at all. You look very fresh.
Yeah, I got about 5.5 hours of sleep last night. So, yeah, that tends to be somewhat average, anywhere between 5 to 6.5. So, yeah, I don't sleep too much. But it's what I'm used to. In this industry, it's 24/7, 365. So that's just what I'm used to.
Excellent. Okay, let's pitch Hayes Hospitality, Hayes Holiday. If people have to get in contact with you, what website is it? I know it, but what website is it, and how do they get in touch with you?
The easiest place to learn all about us, okay, is our website, Hayes Hospitality, which is www.hayes-hospitality.com. So that's HAYS-hospitality.com. And you can go there, you can learn about our management consulting services, and you can learn about our seminars. And also, if you click on property management, it's going to take you to Hayes Holidays anyway. So that's really our parent company, and that's where you can learn all about it. Otherwise, you can reach me directly. I have no problem with it. David at Hayes-hospitality.com.
Excellent. David, thank you so much for this interview, and I should keep in touch with you. Have a great day.
All right. Good talking with you, Douglas. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.